Hey everybody, this video I'm going to just do a quick trim here on my back Bimini, and then I'm spending the bulk of the time catching up on my V-berth remodel, basically re-insulating the entire V-berth after gutting it, and then bringing it to completion where I finally have a bed to sleep on. This was just a little bit too close to here, so my goal is that I just want to be down an inch. Okay, let's try that. Oh yeah, it's perfect. So basically this was touching before, so every time it would, wind moving it or whatever, it would have chafed totally off here. So a little cleanup exercise. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start cutting out the pieces to fit in here for the insulation and gluing them in place. Kind of my goal is basically I'm going to kind of fit in here. There's already wood here. To me that's insulation. So then I'm going to put a piece here, and then I'm going to get the 3/16 ply, and I'm going to skin the pieces all the way along. Okay, here we go. So now I've got access to the top without it coming. So what's happening is the bag was here, and then the input to the bag would hit the bottom of the piece here. So I still have this in as a structural piece. And my water bag now will go underneath, so I'm just going to vacuum all this stuff up here now and clean it. It vacuumed, and then my vacuum died, so I ended up using a wet cloth, and I just wiped it down. So to me it's good enough. What I'm doing is I'm building new shelves. So from the front to the back, I'm going to build like a triangular type shelf unit on each side with sliding cupboards, and that's what I'm going to be using for my storage up here in the V-berth. So I'm just going to skin the outside first, insulate it, and fiberglass it, and then I'm going to build the outside cupboards. So that's the goal. And then this big piece, I'm just waiting for the air to fully clean out here, so I think I'm going to get something to eat. But basically, right down here I want to put another bulkhead, and this is going to be at the tail end of my water bag. So the water tank will be behind a bulkhead right here, and then I'll have a kind of like a little section right here for storage. So I'm going to use this as my sail locker. So so I have a little bit of work ahead of me here to do in cutting the bulkhead, but I'm going to grab some lunch. Alright, hey everybody. Okay, so this is the project to get the water tank in. I'm going to just cut out a bulkhead. What I've done is I've gone here with my pencil, and I've calculated it's roughly 28 inches tall, and it's 52 inches wide right at this point. So just I did cut one. I just did a rough kind of sketch, and I've made it erroneously bigger in terms of my lines. So so I know that it won't match, but what it will do is it'll get me at least a piece that I can work with to start trimming and getting it a little tighter. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to cut this piece. Okay, I'll slowly get it dialed in. I'm just going to keep doing that until I get it close. Well, it looks like it's fitted pretty well. The only difference is that I'm up a little higher, so I can either keep trimming it to fit or just cut the top off. So I'm inclined to cut the top off, but I'm just not 100% sure how much. So, because I'd like this to also be a support for the platform on top. So I'm going to see how that looks here. 28 and a quarter, 28 and a half. So to me, this is probably cut well enough now. It's actually going to make a big difference too, because that platform now can be one piece, except I'm going to do it in two. So I'm going to have the little triangle in the front, and then the middle piece will go in this way. So those will just be set. But I'm going to put hinges here on the back of this bulkhead so that this whole front piece can lift up. So I'm going to go with that. Yeah, I think I'm going to keep that, and then tomorrow I'm going to do the epoxy work. So I'm done with the cutting, so just do a cleanup here now. Hey everybody, so I'm just carrying on with my my project here on the starboard side. I'm looking forward to getting this galley tied in finally after so many years, and then I'm going to be fiberglassing here into the V-berth because I'm fiberglassing these panels. So just to summarize, I've been wanting to put some of this closed cell foam in as insulation for a while here now, so I've done the rest of the boat that way. And this here, actually I shouldn't say I've done the rest of the boat, but I've done lots of that on the boat. And it's made a big difference in terms of the air quality. I'm a little wobbly here right now because we're bucking a little bit. We've had quite a bit of wind today. So it's me being unsteady because the boat's moving. Anyway, so what I did is my steps were insulate in here. First I took everything off, but I'm insulating, and then I'm screwing down some ply. And this is the 3/16 ply. So this is the next section. So this side's been unepoxied. This side's been epoxied. And I did this all over at my shop. And the reason being for that is that I don't want water to saturate this. And I didn't do this side because I'm actually fiberglassing it. So I'm putting another skin of fiberglass, which then I'm going to sand and make full, nice and good before I kind of continue on with this. So this here is how I'm kind of putting this together, and then I'm going to build some cupboards that extend from there over to the bulkhead on each side. So it's I've really found that the insulation just made it more comfortable, even just by doing the cabin here and the quarter berth in the back. It's made a huge difference actually. And I'm actually going to go down and leave about a foot off of the bottom, so I'm even going to do under the floor here once I get the bulkhead in. So that's actually what I'm doing. It's kind of awkward building things with curves, but it's coming along, I think. Alright, so this next piece is this one. Again, you can see I've epoxied. I got that side in behind. This one goes here, but I'm going to fit it in somehow. Remember right? I think my battery is dead. But yeah, you get the idea. So down to the last one. Next step, I'm going to put some fiberglass tape in between. And depending upon, I can see here that it's lining up pretty even. But I think what I'm going to do, there's a couple spots where I'm going to put a couple of 2x4s. These 2x2s here, and just to push against it to hold it in place while it cures. So it's going to take a while. It'll take me about 3-4 days. Basically, I'm going to put one tape at a time on each seam, and then I'm going to fiberglass the whole thing with one big sheet of the 12-ounce biaxial. So keep carrying on. First storm blowing through, I had to get up and tighten up the top. Things are rattling. I don't know if you can see the I don't know if you can see the boats on either side there moving around, but yeah, everything's being jostled pretty good right now. I think it's 30 knots, which 55-kilometer winds. Back to bed. Last few pieces together, and I'm getting ready to glass in the so this is actually the last tie-in of the old and the new. That white piece on the right was the original bulkhead, and it had stairs where I'm putting in this insert that I removed, and I'm basically just tying that into the galley, which is all the new build that I had done over the last few years. So I'm finally getting this glassed in this year, which is great. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I can work with that. And so I got the insulation in, and then this last piece here is now, this is my new lip on the counter. Just going to match the front lip here. Alright, so the my lip is in. Got a little bit of a barrier edge. That's how I did this one here on this side. And so now what I can do is I've made this come out. I just need a little filler piece just to go to here. Now my counter will finally be done. The construction part of it, because I would have tackled all sides. I'm putting fiberglass along the back and in the corner and along the I guess where it matches the bulkhead in the hull. And then I'm using the fairing compound to make myself a nice little round corner, just like I did over there, so everything will be nice and smooth. So those are my next steps, and then finally 2 more coats of top coat using the Interlux Bright Side on there. So we're getting there. It's a little awkward working on the boat during the day when it's, or during the storm, but hey, we're doing okay. We got 30 knot winds out there today, and the boat's just shaking. But that's what comes with boat life, eh? West Systems epoxy with the 205 I'm using, the fast hardener. Still pretty cold. I'm getting a plus 12 today, so this should get a decent cure. I'm just going to put this layup, and then going to do the seam here on both sides of the bulkhead, and then I'm going to be installing that second bulkhead afterwards. So that's the plan here for today. I'm basically just trying to not put my hand in it any more than I possibly have to. But just wet it down first on both edges. It doesn't need to be perfect, just wetted. And then I like to try to wet down the pieces here on the back side as well, as much as possible. It will come through there a little bit, so I'm just sliding that up. You actually don't need like a ton of epoxy. It does slowly saturate it, and actually the least amount that you want is actually better, because that means it's stronger because it's the fibers holding and not the epoxy. All right, so now that I got that in there, I'm going to fold that and start here. And this is basically my floor edge tying in here to the bulkhead. There we go. And I'm going to have to cut more here to do this side here next. Got a little bit of gel. So let me pat it down nicely. This tool gets rid of the air bubbles, and it also helps keep the fiberglass laying flat. And you can kind of use it on a corner. I use it quite a bit to get rid of air bubbles. They call it laying down fiberglass, but this is what I find. You just got to be patient, keep working it, and it will lay down the way that you want it to lay down. Just takes a bit of time to get all the fiber strands to sit the way you want them to sit. Everywhere that I see like a spot where I'm like, okay, it's just missing some fluid. It's not saturating, it's more like a white color. Then I just put a little dab on there, on that one spot, and work it in. I'm so glad the storm that we had here has calmed down. Yeah, fiberglassing is not a rush sport. It's like take your time, keep working it, and then you'll get there. This cloth here that I'm putting on is 12-ounce biaxial. So it's a mesh on one side, and then it's a woven pattern on the other side, 45 degrees. And it gets very strong once it sets, and it's the mesh pattern provides strength in all directions, and then you get a uniform strength from the grid pattern. It's like a cross. This one's a cross stitch actually. And that's it. I'm going to carry on and do all the other cracks. So what I did is I've got the I've got one tack and a second tack there on the main bulkhead, and because it's leaning and etc., it's a little bit precarious. I put these boards up here, and I'm just going to let it harden in place with those two, because I've got it aligned now the way I want. These planks here are assimilating the bed cover, so basically I'm level from front, middle, and back. And now when I build the next layer, which would be the bed frame components, I'll be able to make sure that they're level from side to side, front to back. And then what I'm going to do a bit differently for this one is I'm going to make this compartment here hinged. So the hinge used to be this way, and it was like awkward because you had to pick up the entire bed. This way here, I'm just going to do a little small piece, lift it up. I'm going to put some hydraulics on it. That way I could just lift it up fairly easily, bring it down, and then either latch it or have a, I don't know, some kind of spring lock or something, I don't know. So anyways, that's the progress for today. I'm now going to just take it easy. It probably needs about 6 hours to harden, so that seemed to dry nicely. Fiberglassing. Still got to do this outside edge, but I'm going to wait because I really wanted to get the bulkhead in. So I finished fiberglassing here on the inside, the tape there, and then both sides of the inner bulkhead. I've now got that in there, and then once that's hardened, probably by the end of the day today, then I'm going to start working on figuring out how to get the bed frame to sit in here. And this is a really good surface now. So my water bag is going to go in the front here. I've got one of those triangle water bags from Plastimo. But this is a nice long area that I can now mount things to. And I'm going to put the water maker in here, and then the sails down here, my spare sails. So this will be the sail locker, and then up in the water maker, and then up front the water bag. And I don't think I can really put much else in there with the water bag except for maybe a light sail like my drifter or something. And then I'm going to make hinges here, so there'll be a little handle and you'll lift it up, and this one here will be hinged in. This piece here will be one that you have to pull out, and then I'll be able to get my bed going, which will be good. Oh, it's sunny. I didn't realize it was so sunny. Hopefully you saw. I'm going to be getting this side prepped so that I can finish the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece here and I'm going to line it. It's a piece of strapping. I've already epoxied the inside of it, but I'm going to put now some glue, epoxy glue, and I'm going to epoxy that to the hull as my upper rider. I'm going to be using this center one here as the as a middle tie-in, and then the bottom is going to come right down past the bottom one here. So I don't need to put in any other ones in here, but I do want to complete this before I finish the bedding. This wide piece here, I'm actually going to be just cutting to fit the hull a little bit better, but I'm going to be building a 4-inch kind of like rim all the way around and across the center, all kind of above where this is. So I'm going to have a finished 4-inch piece kind of cut on all sides, but I didn't want to have this piece here side like in or under the wall. So I want this away, and I want to finish my wall, which means my insulation needs to be in place, etc. Here's this 105 and the 205, and I'm estimating I'm going to guess 3 pumps is probably going to be enough glue, and I'm going to put pressure on it so that it holds it flat along against the wall. And then I've got this little one in place here, so that when I put the strapping in here, I'm going to leverage this underneath it and then hammer it tight, because there's a bit of a twist in the hull. If you notice, it's like sloped like this here, and then it's more vertical here. So naturally the board's not twisted, it's flat, so I've got to put some pressure on it, one to hold it in place while the glue dries, and then this little thing here I'm going to hammer in to push the bottom down, and basically I'm going to double vise it afterwards. So that's the plan. Oh, and to make the glue, sorry, with the 105 and the 205, I'm going to use this 403 microfibers. So basically put in about the same volume as the epoxy, the West Systems epoxy. So I'm just going to use these little bowls and a popsicle stick. This outside when I can, mainly because of the 403 silica powder. I don't want that in my lungs, so I'm wearing the mask for that too while I mix this. Like I said, try to add about the same volume powder to the liquid, and then it should be enough to coat. I don't need it to be, I guess this one's like mayonnaise is really what I'm looking for. terms of consistency. And you can see all the little fluffs flying around. That's why I'm wearing the mask. Yep. Alright, so I'm going to go apply. I want a little bit more down on this end because it's got a twist here. So I've got to push it down flat. So a little thicker on this side would be good. I should have screwed that other one in, I think, eh? Try these is longer. Let's see if I can figure this out. Put a screw in the other end. I'm just going to put a screw in here into this wood. And hopefully that's enough to hold it. That's tight. Okay. That's good. I don't think that's going to move. That's pretty good. So just to make sure that it's holding, I'm just going to go and put like a finger run along the bottom and along the top. So maybe about 2 more pumps. Hey guys, good morning. Good morning guys, it's 6 o'clock in the morning and couldn't sleep because I went to bed a bit early, so up early. Anyway, so I've just been working on getting these panels cut, and then I'm going to drive these up to my workshop with my epoxy, and I'm going to coat them there and let them dry on the back side. So I'm mounting them, and then I'm going to take them all out and then remount them again after. Alright, so it's coming up okay. Seam's looking pretty tight. And then I got this little notch cut out here. Alright, so I'll carry on. I'm no sense showing you the same process each time. Yeah, making progress. I'm just going to figure out this last one. It's another day, and I've got kind of my panels cut. I epoxied the back side. So yesterday I brought them out to, sorry, I don't know if you saw that, but I epoxied the back side of them. Brought them over to my shop and let them sit there for a day while I was for them the epoxy to dry. And this is the side that's facing. And although I did film the other side, I just thought I'd film this one part here. I kind of notched out the corner when I did this, and then when I put the second piece, when I measured it, it was a little closer, so my measuring was off. So I've got a bit of a gap here. So what I did is I just put another little piece in behind, and I'm going to pin that quarter in, and then I've got a little piece that I'm going to attach at the bottom once I get this next panel in. So I just thought I'd show that. This one's going here. And that looks like it's going to line up nicely at board. Alright, so done my paneling now, so I'm fully insulated on the bottom, or on the hull, and I'm paneled, and now I'm going to fiberglass. And this is basically the technique that I did for everything here. So I used I framed it with insulation, and then I put that 1/4 inch 5mm, 5.2mm ply, And then on the outside edge I put the 12 or 17 ounce biaxial, just depended what I had. So, and then paint. And this thing is like solid. So the last step with the fiberglass, you have to fair the whole thing. So that's going to take a while. But I've been using the Polyfair F26 compound, and it's been working okay. The only thing is it doesn't last very long. I would say, you know, maximum 6 months kind of thing, and then it starts to crystallize inside. And although you can scrape that off, which I've been doing, and using it in kind of areas that didn't matter that much, you really have to throw away quite a bit. So I'm going to need some more F26 compound to do all this, because there's quite a bit here. And you just mix it in small batches and scrape. Keep it as thin as possible, just like mudding a room with drywall. And then it works out okay. But if you put too much on, then you spend way too much time sanding. So just keep it thin, give it a light coat, and then I always paint with the primer, because the primer, like, your eye sees it, but your eye can't see it when it's white. So like, I'm sure there's like little micro bumps here, but you just can't see it. You know, maybe with like the light shining right on it from the angle, you'll see it, but yeah, you can't really see it. And then when you put the top coat on with the Interlux top coat, that really comes out and punches. It's like, but it's a thick paint, so it covers up quite a bit. And you know, when you do your roll and tip with it, you know, it does get quite smooth when it, you know, you add a little bit when you're doing the brushing of that 216 thinner, and you know, it does set and come in quite nicely flat. So don't spend too much time making it perfect, like because you've got some covering material on top that kind of covers up quite a bit of it anyway. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So fiberglass all along here. I'm going to tie that in still, so I still got some fiberglassing to do. I want to take this edge here now and tuck my fiberglass in the corners, that side and that side, right along the seams here along. So I've still got some taping to do with the fiberglass, and that's before I do the big piece. But I want to build my main cabinetries now, so I'm going to be making them either angular or something. I'm not sure. They're going to hang below. I'm not 100% certain, but I want to bring that all the way back to the door over there. So it'll be skinnier on that end and thicker on this end. And I'd like to have some either open, you know, pockets to put things in, or sliders, or I don't know. I need some ideas actually for that. Well, it was good to get out for a sail, but I'm going to be finishing off a couple projects here. We're going to cut this bed frame, the last one, and then I'm going to bring a mattress down, see how it all fits. So this is the last piece, and I thought about it for a while, and I've decided to keep it one piece for now, because if I want to make it into, if it's too heavy to lift on some nice hinges, I'll figure out how to do this, then I'll kind of chop that end, chop this in, and so it's just the middle that will lift. And then I'll probably put a couple other pieces and fiberglass those in as braces. But right now I like this because it's wide. If I have something big, I can put it in here to store it. That kind of thing. So I'm going to go get ready to cut it. Here's my little schematic. So you can see it's got this little notch, and then the line goes up. we'll see how this goes. Hopefully it works out. We'll see how close my measurements are. So I'm going to draw my cut line now and then cut this. Do this. And then I have a line to follow. Fits. Right there, but that's okay. Wow, that's just awesome. Yeah, just finished sweeping up. And we're going to grab the mattresses and then get a new bed to sleep on. Busy in the harbor today. We got 4 container ships. 1, 2, 3, 4 up here, yeah. A lot of boats came out this aft.